Hi everybody, welcome to week 5. Here's my quick little video walking you through what to expect for this week and how to do stuff. I'm going to go ahead and minimize myself. So, like usual now, you have a read about it, learn the terminology, and communicate about it section. This week, we're going to be talking about your culture, learning about other people's culture, and at the same time, how to communicate in groups. So we're tackling two things. So if you read about it up here, I'm going to go and click on that. You can read all about it, what my expectations are. There's a link to this, how to facilitate group discussions. Please go ahead and open that, read the chapter from the book. I have a video here. It's the same video from last week. So if you didn't watch it last week, this is the week to make sure you watch it. It kind of covers both last week and this week, some of the concepts, especially of culture and perception. So that's, if you haven't watched it, rewatch that or watch it to review. And then there's the assignments at the bottom. So that is where we start. If you go down here and click next. Your terminology journal. Go ahead and read chapter 2, and then I remind you about my late policy. This is due Tuesday, right? I have stuff due Tuesday and Thursday this week, so make sure you notice that, please. I have tips for the assignment. I walk you through what high context is versus low context in communication, and individualism versus collectivism. So that's kind of a conversation you'll be having as you read, but that's what the context is. And then you have an assignment down here. So I want you to go ahead and use these terms and concepts from the textbook. Hopefully that makes sense. Rubrics at the bottom. And I go ahead and hit next. And then we move to the actual small group discussion that you're going to have on your own outside of class. Well, we don't actually meet, so everything's outside of class. But yeah, so for this, what you're really going to be doing, let me make myself bigger here. What you're going to be doing is collecting a group of people. Ideally, people from the class would be great, but considering that this class is remote, you could pick any people. But you need to pick people to have a small group discussion with, a guided small group discussion with about culture. So that's what this assignment walks you through. It explains what that is. This assignment is your meeting plan. So this is what your plan is going to be. That's due first, and it's due Thursday, right? The actual discussion is due Sunday. So between Thursday and Sunday, you need to actually carry out this plan for this to work. So I explained it here. You want to have a 30-minute group discussion. Ideally, it's face-to-face. You can use Zoom or FaceTime if you need to, something like that. But ideally, it's face-to-face. And ideally, it's with people from the class, but they could be anybody. It's best, the reason I say it's best if it's from the class is because you're going to be talking about culture and things like that. And if you're talking about culture with just like your brother and sister, you're not going to have as deep of a conversation, and it won't be as interesting. You have different cultures slightly than each other, so there's something to talk about. But if you could talk to somebody in the class who's from somewhere totally different, who you actually don't know, that's even better. But it could also be coworkers or really anybody. So to make that easy, to facilitate that, I have this group discussion board that I link here, this group discussion board. That's also, let me show you in the module. There's a link to it in the module itself. It is just right here, this group finder board. Let me move this down. So it's this group finder board link. That's just a discussion. If you want to pop over here to post who you are and find people to discuss with, that's what that's for. You can't really see it from my screen capture is off. Anyway, that makes sense, hopefully, right? Go there if you want to try and post to find people, but do it early. Because if you're planning on relying on people from the class, and it's due Sunday, you need to have the meeting before then. So find people right away, I suggest. And then you have your group discussion. This is where you actually post the work from the group discussion. Like I say here, it's open all week. It's due Sunday. There is no late policy for this. It's due Sunday and it closes Sunday. Make sure you notice that. I won't accept this late. So make sure you get it on time. Should be about 2 pages. And here's how it works. Part 1, consider how to facilitate. Part 2, hold the discussion. And then Part 3, reflection, right? So that's that. Hopefully that makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions about that guy. And then at the very bottom here, you have extra credit. So it's worth 5 points if you do it. It's worth nothing if you don't, so don't worry about it. But it's due Wednesday if you want to do it. And this is just, I want some feedback from you guys about how the class is going. What I could fix. So I'll give you 5 extra credit points for giving me that feedback, but otherwise you don't need to worry about this. This isn't a required assignment. But there you go. Hopefully that makes sense. That's this week. So the first thing I'd recommend doing is start thinking about who you could meet with for your group meeting. And make that decision early on in the week. And if you don't have anybody, post to that board early on in the week. That way you can find people. If you have any questions about how this week's going to work or anything about it, please let me know. You can email me. And again, I have office hours on Mondays at noon, from noon to 1. And the link is here on Canvas. There's also in it, there's a post, there's a link in an announcement early on, and there's a link in the syllabus. So if you have problems finding any of that or need help with anything, please just let me know. And I'll see you guys on that discussion board.